My timing's getting better with this thing. Well, good morning to everyone and good morning to you all on Zoom. And today I went back to an old talk. It was called Our Thoughts Are Prayers. And I did use a bit of it, but I hadn't used this for over 10 years. So I'm sure you can't remember it. So I've called it The Gift of Prayer. One of our favourite songs we used to sing is Our Thoughts Are Prayers. And that is also the first line of the song, and the second line is, We are always praying. It's a song I used earlier. We might start singing this again soon. I might play too much. You can hear the phrase in the music. Thank you. Does anyone remember it? We should really get excited and get the songbooks out, but it's not in the songbook. It's one of those ones. Would you like me to bring it back? Okay. Okay. Now, I quote from Thessalonians 16-18, Pray without ceasing and give thanks in all circumstances. At some level, all thoughts are prayers, even though we may not realise it. And I know Leslie's very big on this, but our feelings are prayers. I think feeling is the language of God. Like people say, does God speak English, Spanish or German? Feelings. And the Kahunas knew this years before Western civilization caught up with them. They knew that we have our conscious mind, which sends a thought down to the subconscious, the captain and the engine driver down here. And if this thought is strong enough, the engine driver will send the energy up to the higher self and out it goes. So, let's look at our life and see what our thoughts and feelings have brought us to. Some things we can't stop, and some of us, including myself, are moaning and groaning because the years are catching up with us. And sometimes I have to sit down and think, well, it's all part of divine order. Do I want to stay, in my 30s or 40s forever? There's a great design behind all this. Now, our mind, our thinking capacity is always with us, working with us, because it's our creative centre. We build our world and we take dominion over our thoughts and feelings. That is a gift. And I was looking at a few other gifts too we just take for granted: the fire, air, earth and water. And if we look at it, the water, we have our cups of tea. The fire transmuted into this heat. The air keeps us alive. And the earth is anchoring us to where we're supposed to be, so we don't float off to the moon or something. From his book, Celebrate Yourself, Eric Butterworth, poet laureate, whose one of his poems is actually on the moon as we speak. You are not your mind, you have a mind, and you have the power to control its function. You can control your thoughts and feelings and take charge of your life. Easy said, isn't it? This requires vigilance because Our mind is like a door. It can swing both ways. It can be influenced by outer conditions, good or not so good, or we can learn to go within and be guided and inspired by the power of divine wisdom within us. We know, we call it that still small voice, it could be anything, whatever is supposed to get through to us, God will use. It's in our bank, memory bank, or inner bank. I was given some advice 2 weeks ago. Had a bundle full of groceries and everything was just right. I knew a week before my kitchen step was crumbling. And I thought, I better get onto that. And I thought, not now, it's an old church, it's 113 now. And I could see a crack, it's that old concrete, it looked as if it's very watery and gravelly. But there was just a crack and it fell off. I thought, well, we're not quite there yet, I think I'll be right. So I was struggling with the key and I trod just on that spot and fell head over heels. And I'm still recovering, but my goodness, what a shock. But Spirit told me that step needs fixing. Did I do anything about it? No, I carried on. And I'm sure a lot of you have been in that position where we just think, yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. Well, it was a lesson for me. I'm sure we've all had our own experience of that sort of thing. Now, we're all made up and surrounded by an atmosphere which is made up in according with our character, which is built up over time by an environment and maybe incarnation upon incarnation. And this can be felt, and even places have their thought atmosphere, as you know. I'm speaking to someone that said they were looking for a place to stay. They knew immediately when they went into the place, it wasn't their place. There was an atmosphere there. Now, this has been proved, I think. We used to have a group of people come here, about 10 years ago, called the Nexus Group. And they had wonderful things. They had different herbs for sale and different spices, and they'd have a different speaker. One day it was a very, very special medium who was brilliant. Then another day they had, and living across the road, I got to have all this right on my doorstep, infrared camera. Now, an infrared camera can take photos of energy that we, our spectrum, can't see. And sure enough, on these slides, you could see this old house. It was blank for 1 minute, then the second one, there was an elderly lady sitting in a chair. And a few things like that, little strange things. And I inquired about one of these cameras. I wouldn't mind one actually, but where I am and I live, there's a lot of that sort of atmosphere. I probably sense it more than I see it because you think, oh, I saw someone, and it's gone. But the infrared camera, I believe, can, if the circumstances are right, and maybe whoever's photographing it, can capture that. I've had some reasonably accurate readings given over my time. They've been based on the strongest thoughts and feelings that I've had at the time. In Ballarat, there's a little place called the Bluebird Centre, I think it is. And while I was waiting for my car to be serviced, I didn't tell them who I was. I just went in and I had a reading, and one of them I thought, oh, this is not working. And she told me something, but it took 3 years to happen. So Wyatt was in my atmosphere for 3 years, but she got it, and she also got something else. Gordon Michael Scallion, who was an American psychic, about 10 years ago predicted many events that occurred and some that didn't. He wrote, "No prophecy is final. Prophecies are probabilities given so that the consciousness can alter the event, modify the changes, or at the very least, help prepare what is to come." So the good news is we don't have to accept that reading if we've got the knowledge the new thought knowledge, that the ancient wisdom, change your thinking, change your mind, but it does take work, as we know. Good news is we can do it. We can reflect more health, prosperity and happiness. And importantly, it can keep us balanced during the ups and downs in the many cycles of this life. Because you probably get tired of me saying this, but this is a spiritual school. Nothing's really going to be perfect, but we can be perfect within ourselves. That is the gift we have. How we react to something is how we create our peace of mind, as we've seen by people like Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela and others who understand, especially during World War II, under horrible conditions where people kept their faith up. So the first step is to help us here, and we do that here. We talk about affirmations and denials. Thoughts and words have creative power when combined with feeling, visualization and faith. When we're ready to change our lives for the better, we will start to consciously take dominion of them and use them wisely and scientifically. Here's the general affirmation. I am open and receptive to receiving the abundance I require to meet any situation in my life now. I am now ready to receive all that is mine by divine right, and I give thanks that it is on its way to me now. I think that was Catherine Ponder, one of the earlier writers of Unity. Now, I can say that over and over again, but if I don't say it with feeling, it's going to take longer if it does anyway. Because look at all the thoughts we're surrounded by. I think one of the worst is in the airport. You've got all these people wondering about the plane. They're all different characters. You get on the plane, you're sitting in your seat and people wondering if it's all going to be all right, and you hope you get the right person. All these negative thoughts are floating round and round. But they don't have that strong feeling about them, really. It's usually just thoughts, and that's why I'm sure we're always offered cups of tea or something even better when we're on the plane to keep us amused. We often say there's one power in the universe, and each an individual expression of that power, and the power is the source of everything. All things have their idea in this one mind. Thinking and feeling brings the idea into the visible. As it says in the Bible, John 14, the Word made flesh. Physical creation is the word of the eternal God's idea made physically manifest. And we talk about the word God. We could go on arguing about the definition. But it reminds me of when Moses, just before he received the Ten Commandments, went up to Mount Tabor. And he was in a cliff overlooking this big valley. And he was in meditation, and he said to God, God, can I see you? And God said, no. But you can't look upon me, but you'll feel something happening. You better turn your back, because you won't survive. Words to this effect. So Moses felt this incredible energy go across like a storm in the desert. He turned his back, and that was God going. Metaphorically in the Bible, it brings that to our attention. So we define God, but we only define it according to how we see it. In Sunday school, God, our Father in heaven. And speaking of prayers, my first prayer I learned, what was it? Before I go to bed. Now I lay me down to sleep. Orders to keep. My soul to keep. If I die... Thank you, Beverly. Was that one of your first ones? Yes. And we did that at Sunday school till we got onto the Lord's Prayer. Anyway, the purpose of creation is that the Creator may express, and the purpose of individual creation is that the Creator may be expressed through and by the individual. We didn't invent this power, which can get your mind going. We are it manifests, like Moses couldn't see the power, wasn't allowed to see God, but we are it in action, everything. Yogananda, in his book, Autobiography of a Yogi, I go to that from time to time, just for some reason, it just anchors me. The nature of spirit is motionless. The nature of creation is motion. Matter is materialized mind stuff. And isn't it scary? We're all doing it. We're all creating. I can only take about 5 minutes of Facebook now. Let's see what's being created. It's quite scary. But 5 minutes is enough. And then I think, thank you, God. I don't want to know anymore. Everyone has an opinion, and now, with the way things are, everyone can share their opinion and react to that opinion. Everything is already there in the mind of God, divine mind. And we gradually expand our consciousness to experience it more and more. Now, unfoldment is a gradual unveiling. But the veil is on our face and not on the face of God. And when the story of Jesus' crucifixion, at the moment of crucifixion, the veil was rent. The veil, of course, being the veil that stopped him from being Christ consciousness, was even fully awakened even more. Not my will, but thy will be done. So, as I said, unfoldment is not the making of a new truth. It's the uncovering of the ever-present truth as we are able to see and hear. Scientists may say, oh, we found a new star in the universe. Well, it's not a new star. It's been there. It's just that we've got the equipment now to see it. And electricity. We've now got the formula to take the element of fire and use it for electricity. If we had the formula, the Garden of Eden would have been lit up. Thank goodness for fig leaves. Oh, that was terrible. Okay, where are we? Because we're an individual expression of the divine creation, we have within us the power as sons and daughters of God. To sum up, God will give his angels charge over thee to keep thee all thy ways. Our thoughts are prayers, and the results of this is that our thoughts take wings to find manifestation. Thoughts have wings. These are sayings we often come across as we take time to look at the circumstances we find ourselves in at this time. And to understand how thoughts become things, it will be helpful to explain first, thoughts become things through the Trinity. Here's another one. The Trinity of first the thinker, the thought, and the substance which finds form, where it is materialized or demonstrated in our lives. Metaphysically, the word angel means messenger. And the Latin angela incognita means messengers who would like to remain anonymous. Because of my Sunday school training, I imagine angels to have wings and be the harbingers of good things. In Hebrews 13:3, be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained strangers unaware. There's an old song saying the best things in life are free. I believe the gift of life is the most valuable. It makes it possible for us to be God in action. We were born perfect. but we have to learn how to express more and more of that perfection. So finally, as the gift of prayer, Meister Eckhart, who's a 13th century or 14th or 12th Catholic mystic, he died before he was thrown out of the church. He thought he was very heretical? Heretical? Yeah. If you want to know what that means, I put an article on the notice board out there. Got a minister coming, Kelly Asola. We're having a special October seminar here, and she writes a whole article on that. What is a heretic? Quite enlightening. But anyway, Meister Eckhart, if the only prayer you say is thank you, that is enough. But let's add, say it with feeling. Thank you.